Let's get right to the point. We want a sequel to Breath of the Wild. Yeah, fine, following up such a masterpiece is a tall order, but the people that crafted the grassy ruins of Hyrule are working on, well, something. Here is what we know so far about a possible Breath of the Wild sequel. Following the release of Breath of the Wild, the man whose hand has had a considerable share in shaping the series as we know it, Eiji Onuma, told fans not to hold their breath for a new Zelda game. He said in an interview with Game Reactor, "We have no plans for a future Zelda. We are still far from this, unfortunately for you. Today, I'm at a stage where I'm trying to gather a number of ideas for a sequel, but I cannot do it alone. It's a lot of work that will have to be done over a long period of time, and we're still far from having planned anything. Leave us a little time." Onuma was probably and understandably exhausted after a 5-year development period that took blood, sweat, and tears. In the time that has passed since the bombastic release of Breath of the Wild, he and Nintendo have had time to catch their breath. On an episode of Game Informer's podcast, editor Imran Khan hinted at a release coming sooner than expected. The crew speculated on if a Zelda-themed Switch would be released with the next game, to which Khan cryptically replied, "I was just thinking what I should say about that. The next Zelda will probably be sooner than we think." He said he would elaborate further off camera. What we would have given to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. As exciting as the idea of a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild might be, Nintendo has been known to throw similar plans out the window when arguably minor problems arise. Specifically, Eiji Onuma had alluded to a sequel to The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker back in 2004 at the Game Developers Conference that never came to be. Mostly because, as artist Satoru Takizawa said in the book of The Legend of Zelda Arts and Artifacts, quote, "Demand for a more Ocarina of Time game was growing by the day."
Are you kidding me?
The Wind Waker sequel would have been more on land than sea, and so designers struggled to get a short-legged Link onto a massive Epona. Therefore, the game called for a more grown-up Link, which led to a more mature design and narrative. This is how Twilight Princess was born. Shigeru Miyamoto said that he wanted to give players who enjoyed the game another chance to play in the world of Twilight Princess. Rather than telling an epic tale, the planned sequel will be more of a side story in the way that Majora's Mask followed up Ocarina of Time. However, the writers got ahead of themselves and were coming up with more involved, complicated stories. Thus, we got Link's crossbow training for the Wii, which used assets from Twilight Princess, but can't be called a full-fledged sequel. He is hoping history doesn't repeat itself and we get a minigame instead. Although, who wouldn't want to play a Cooking Mama-style chef simulator starring everybody's favorite hero in green? Although we aren't entirely sure when the next Zelda game will grace gamers' consoles, we are sure that Nintendo has already begun work on another journey with Link. And we're not talking about the adorable 3D remake of Link's Awakening, we think. A note in the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Masterworks by Onuma confirmed that development is already underway, and that was back in 2017. So much for taking a breather. Nintendo gave no official nod as to what this work involved, but fans jumped on a telling job posting as proof that behind closed Nintendo doors, work on Hyrule was well underway. The Japanese listing called upon a level designer for, quote, "creating game events, dungeons, field planning, and making adjustments as necessary." This quick turnaround is typical of Zelda development cycles. As soon as Skyward Sword was completed and released in 2011, developers had already begun toying with the idea of the post-apocalyptic Hyrule that became the backdrop for Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is one of those games where players can forget about the main questline and spend some quality in-game hours hunting, gathering, and riding through the wilds. Link can choose to ignore his destiny and climb a couple mountains, or seek out the biggest horse possible. Players can choose whether to attack bokoblins on the cover of night, or with a clanging claymore in broad daylight. The wilds of Breath of the Wild offer freedom, and it inspired producer Eiji Onuma. He told IGN in an interview, "I think for me, especially just in terms of the Zelda series, the incredible freedom that this game offers you and how well that's been received to me, it means that freedom, that level of freedom is something that needs to be maintained in Zelda games going forward. My eyes have been open to how important that is." Onuma said he wanted players to be able to solve problems in their own unique way, and that watching playthroughs of Breath of the Wild where players have solved puzzles in unpredictable ways has been fun. While we're not sure if the next Zelda game will be more linear than the sprawling world of Breath of the Wild, it seems safe to assume that we will have the freedom to search out our own shortcuts.
If I may be so bold, what is it that you are planning to do next, Princess?
We may not know much about what the future holds in terms of new Zelda games, but one thing is for sure. Everyone, including devs, are excited for what's to come. After Breath of the Wild's release in 2017, the higher-ups involved with the game are more than optimistic for the next big project. Director Hidemaru Fujibayashi told IGN, "I can't say at this point if it will be in sequels or in continuations or what form it will take, but I definitely have lots of ideas and lots of motivation right now." So far, the fact that the team has lots of ideas as to what's next is the most promising news we can hope for. Fujibayashi is the one who sold series creator Shigeru Miyamoto and series producer Eiji Unuma on the idea that in Breath of the Wild, you can do everything. This led to a demo session wherein Miyamoto reportedly would not stop climbing trees for about an hour. If Fujibayashi says he has ideas, then get excited, because his track record proves they're typically tip-top. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more SVG videos about your favorite games are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.